If you're good, I'm good.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So welcome to the show, Brando Blends, bro. I appreciate you coming through.
Appreciate you having me, man.
For sure. We were just mentioning that you're here for or from Davenport. That's where you do all your business, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Davenport.
And your mom lives here.
Yep. In
Okay.
Ocala.
And you're here every other week to visit her.
Yeah.
That's love, man.
Yeah.
A 2-hour drive, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Hour and a half here, hour and a half back.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, just because we were already kind of on this topic, you were mentioning, you said something about when everything went down, and you mentioned having two moms. And although we're going to get on the barbering, this is what created the Barber, right?
Yeah.
So explain to me how that went down. What was it that went down? I'm curious.
Yeah. So I was growing up with two moms for the most part. My mom and my dad split when I was younger. So, just growing up in a household like that, it was like six of us in one house, 6 kids, and then my mom's. But yeah, basically she had got in trouble with the law. She got taken away. I was probably like 8 years old at the time. And then my dad had found out once I was like 11. So I was living with just my mom and my stepbrothers for like a few years, 2-3 years. And then I moved to New York. So
you were already in Davenport.
I was in Orlando.
Okay.
South
side, north side?
Well, West Orlando.
Okay. Ooh, rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
I was in the hood for sure.
Pine Hills.
Nah, not that hood.
No, not that. almost.
Nah, but yeah. So once everything went down, that's really when that's what I mean when everything went down.
Yeah.
She got taken away. And it's been 13 years, but she's getting out.
So she's been gone since then for 13 years. Wow, bro. Yeah. How has that impacted you?
To be honest, bro, I was really young. I always felt protected. I never felt like I was left alone. I was always around love. So, what I'm saying, that part never really went away, as well as we always obviously kept in contact or whatnot. So it was a lot of people trying, like, I'm not a victim. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see things and I'm like, it just is what it was. You feel me? So it didn't really, I wouldn't say it negatively impacted me too much. Now I am starting to feel like I see kids with their parents and their moms, and I'm like, damn.
And because you're 21, you said, right?
Yeah.
21, 13 years puts you at how old?
8.
That's young, bro.
Yeah.
That's 3rd grade. I remember being 8. Like my daughter's almost 8. So to imagine that is intense. But what I respect even more is, like you said, you're not a victim. Yeah. You're not a victim. And that's a problem with so many people in our society today, is the victim mentality. We mentioned that a little bit when we were talking too.
Yeah.
You obviously don't need to go into details, but when that happened, when whatever happened, did you, at 8 years old, were you aware? Like, you knew what was going on? It wasn't why is this happening? You knew what was up.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? When you grow up in the hood, you know certain stuff. People talk. But for me, it was more so just like, I know something's wrong. And like I would go on my phone at 8 years old. I had a little iPhone like 3 or something like that.
That's crazy. Different generations, bro. That's crazy.
And I would search up, and I'd be like, I was like, man, I don't know. I think she's in jail. It was just something in my head.
You weren't told this.
No, I wasn't. No, they was keeping it from me. Oh, she's at work. This, that, the third. I would talk to her all the time. She would call.
But you knew it wasn't right. Like,
I knew something was off. Yeah, like. You know what I'm saying? She would pick up the phone, and like you would hear like the echoes in the back or whatnot. I'm like, yeah, this ain't at 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yeah, something's off.
Yeah.
And then there was one time where my mom, she had brought me here to Ocala. She was actually, the first jail she was locked up in was here in Ocala, and then she moved. So she brought me here, and literally, as soon as I seen the gates, I'm like,
that's when it really closed in.
Yeah.
Still 8.
Still 8. I was probably like 8, 9 at that time.
Now what? Now what are you thinking? Now that you know, and you're there.
Like I said, like I never really took it personally. Like, it is what it is, bro. Like, what am I gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? Things happen for a reason, and I have faith that anything that God does is with the bigger picture in mind. So I don't really.
And you didn't blame her, I'm assuming. You weren't angry at her, right? You understood pretty
bro.
well. Yeah,
it was just, it is what it is. You feel me? Like, made a bad decision. I'm not mad at you for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you come to see her every other week. That's beautiful, bro. For real. Yeah. For real. Because I know a lot of people. I have family members too in a similar situation, and there's a lot of people that's when they find out who really loves them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And to see your mom over 13 years consistently and be here now, which I'm glad, because that is somewhat why we're here today. The convenience of the situation. So I'm definitely happy to hear that, and that she's getting out.
Yeah.
Which is when? Do you know how?
She should be moved. She's gonna get deported most likely, so she'll probably be moved even by next week
To DR?
Yeah, to DR.
Okay, I mean, she's not gonna be allowed back.
Most likely not. She would. I'm sure she would have to go through like the whole process.
Yeah.
But like,
she don't care.
Nah,
she's going to be free. Yeah. And then in the islands, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Home, like, damn, exactly. What a beautiful place, because you're Dominican. She's Dominican.
Yeah.
And your dad too?
Yep. Both
okay,
parents.
dope. So you definitely got that Plátano bloodline, bro. I like that. I love it, man. DR is one of the islands I've never been to. Although I'm pretty sure I know what it's like. You know what I mean? I know a good bit about it. But I also scuba dive. Okay. And I heard that scuba diving there is amazing, as well as, a lot of other Caribbean islands. So
I'll be honest, I haven't been, man.
We might have to go make a barber trip, make some content out there, do a podcast on the beach.
That would be dope.
That would be next level.
That would be dope.
So, all right, we'll put that on the list.
Yeah.
That's on the list of things to do. Would you have any plans on going to visit then, since your mom's going to be getting out and going there? You got to.
Look, nobody knows this yet. I haven't said it. But I do plan on putting the clippers down soon. For
real?
Yeah.
Officially.
Like
how soon are we talking? I got to dig now. What are we talking about?
By the end of the year.
In pursuit of what?
Coaching. Helping change other people's lives in barbering. Staying still in the same field, but just helping people elevate in that space.
And being more niche down on that too. That's a beautiful thing, bro. Damn, you got me like, hold on, wait a minute. Am I putting the clippers now? No. Hey, I think that's amazing. How do you feel about, man, I feel like we gotta start. There's so many questions that start at another level. So first, let's talk about your barbering journey, because you're talking about ending it in a way, in a certain way. So let's talk about the beginning. How did this start for you at 21? You've been in the game how many years, and where did you even start barbering?
Yeah, so it all started COVID, man. I was watching, actually I had waves when I was like 16, 17, something like that. And I would watch a lot of 360 Jeezy. And I would watch his wave videos, but then I would watch his like wave transformation videos. So people would grow their hair out for 12 weeks, whatever, and they'll chop it down. So I just loved seeing the rough, like long waves, seeing it get chopped down and like getting a clean outcome. So I was in love with transformations at 14, 15 years old. And then COVID came around, and it got to the point where I got fucked up by a barber. I don't know if I could curse, my bad.
No, definitely. Right. Hey, fuck. Let's do it. We good.
Yeah, so I got messed up by a barber, and I'm just like, man, you know what? I've seen enough of these videos, half guard, 1.5 guard. I'm like, man, let me cut my hair down. So I gave myself a buzz cut.
At 14? Roughly.
Yeah, 14, 15 years old. Gave myself a buzz cut. And I'm like, man, that didn't come out too bad. So I'm like, you know what? Like, my brother looked at me. He was like, hey, man, like, give me a cut too, because he got messed up too. He's like, man, just clean me up. And
older brother, okay.
Older stepbrother, yeah. So he was my test dummy.
My brother was too. He was younger though, so I was able to control that a little bit. Like, hey, come here, man. I don't care if I'm not good.
Nah, that's funny. My brother he just trusted, bro. He was just like, nah, bro, like, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So he was real cool about it. So it made it very easy for me to jump into it. And so we was doing that for a little bit. Eventually my dad got in. I was cutting my dad. But then it got to the point where I reached I was on my way to my senior year. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, bro, what am I doing? What am I gonna do? Like, college is out the window. You know what I'm saying? You start to realize, like, oh, my parents don't really have that much money. And I don't want to put them through that if I don't feel like I'm 100% dedicated to it. Mm-hmm. So it came down to trades. What trades am I gonna do? I knew trade school was the way to go, just because, you know what I'm saying, I had people in my family that did trades. So I was thinking like electrician, HVAC, plumbing, barbering. Those are like my 4 options that I was considering. You hear electrician, you think $100K a year.
Right.
Same with HVAC. I had an uncle who was doing the same thing, plumbing. If you hustle, you know what I'm saying, you'll get there as well. But barbering stood out to me because, we grow up in a barber shop. I'm there every 2 weeks, every month. I'm getting a cut. I see the vibe. I see the barbers. I see the people. So it intrigued me, but I never thought barbers made money.
You never associated that, like barbers, ballers.
Like, what I'm saying? They got the nice cars or whatnot, but you know what I'm saying? You always see, like, you search it up on Google and it'll come out like 25K is the average for a barber.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's like, wait a minute, Medicaid makes more than this. What you mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you mean? Not working makes more than this. What you talking about?
So I'm like, that don't make sense. So I never paid it no mind. But then once I really got into it, I'm like, you know what? I was like 16 at the time. I'm like, man, what does a day in the life of a barber look like? What does a day in the life of an electrician look like? And from there is when I was able to be like, you know what? Like,
YouTube in it? I'm guessing.
Yeah, YouTube for sure. TikTok wasn't really popping yet for me, at least. I wasn't on that. So I was just like, man, like, what does it look like as a barber? And overall, bro, barbers just looked way more happy than electricians or people doing anything else. So I was like, man,
I'd say we are.
Yeah, 1,000%.
We inside.
We in the AC.
Yeah, AC.
You know, it's a pretty regulated space. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You know what you're coming into every day. As well as the conversations. You know what I'm saying? I loved those conversations when I went in the barbershop as a kid. So that's really where my decision came about. Once I found out that they can make money, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, you can make 100K as a barber?
Like, that's the way to go. Yeah,
I could work as hard as I want, and I could take a vacation whenever I want.
For sure.
That was my deciding factor right there. If I could bet on myself, because I know I work hard. If I could bet on myself and know that I could put however many hours I want to, and I get to decide what I'm worth, I knew the sky was the limit. And
you were already, you're thinking this at 14, 15. I know people 18, 19, 20 who aren't even thinking about what they're going to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, I'm just chilling to go to school tomorrow. Like, all right. Not even their hobbies aren't aligned to like figuring something out for later in life. So thinking this at 14, 15, is it safe for me to assume that it was your first job too, or did you have any other jobs?
I had during COVID, actually. I didn't get my first job until I was like 16, 17, bro. I was lazy. Like,
that's not too bad, bro. That's not too bad. I was early. Like, I jumped the gun. I was like 13, 12, but I knew that was a little early. I feel like a lot of people is like 16. Shoot, I didn't even get hired officially somewhere on the books until a 16. I was trying Publix. I was trying all these under the table jobs, but nobody wanted to go for legit. So I wouldn't say that's late. Yeah.
I say it's late because I had friends already making good money. I knew people. I saw, like, I was aware already. But in my family, like, I don't know, like, at least like my older brother, like, he wasn't a hustler. Like, if I would have seen a hustler, somebody was just like, that was like, yo, you got to go get it. Like, if somebody would have told me like, yo, what are you doing? You got to go get it. I would have been, you know what I'm saying, doing it.
See, that's what I had. My parents were like, bro, you need to figure something out.
Nah.
You know,
I was at home playing the game. You know what I'm saying? My dad didn't really.
He wasn't pushing that direction.
Wasn't pushing. And, you know what I'm saying? Not his fault or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
He was letting you be a kid.
Yeah.
He wasn't
Which
sitting
is
there.
Fair.
It's
fair.
Yeah, because a lot of parents don't. And I like to say, by the way, in case my parents see this, they let me be a kid. Yeah, okay. But they kept me aware, like, yo, to go do something. For them, it was more like, go learn something. You know, one of my dad's famous quotes, which I'll never forget, is like, go read a book. You know what I'm saying? Anytime I told him I was bored, go read a book. And I know I didn't want to read a book, but I knew it was like, well, I can't really say I'm bored and then not read a book. You know what I mean? I better go do something.
Yeah.
So for the moment he saw that there was some interest in clippers, they supported me. They bought me some clippers. Yeah. And then I was there sweeping up the shop every day. And they encouraged me. They didn't care what it was. It was like, but learn a skill. Like, you need skills. Yeah. Doesn't matter what you want to do, where you want to go, learn it. Yep. You know what I mean? Learn it and use it. So it pays off. I'm glad you did it. How did you really dive in after your brother, after he was, warming you up? Where did it go from there?
So this was I had, after the summer, during the summer, I picked up a job at Dunkin' Donuts. So actually school had went out. And we was doing online. I was doing online, guys. So
click a Quizlet. You was on Quizlet all day.
Not even, bro. I was literally doing no work because I had got the job at Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin Robbins, in New York. Actually, I was in New York at this time. I was in Long Island, and I was working at Dunkin' Donuts, and they're throwing me hours, bro. I'm like, I'm starting to make money. You feel me?
Yeah.
So schoolwork is like out the window. I'm just like, man,
I'm making money right now. What do I need school for?
And I had the plans of barbering already, so I wasn't doing no schoolwork for like 3 quarters. And it got to the point where I was already focused. In my head, I already dropped out. I'm just going to school because I was going to barber school. So I couldn't drop out officially because if I drop out of a regular school, I can't go to barber school anymore.
Because you were under 18 or under 16?
Yeah. So So I was going to barber school. So that's really what I was doing in the meantime as I was cutting my brother or whatnot.
A legit barber school, I'm guessing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. It was connected through the school, so it was completely free.
Good.
So that was my opportunity, and that's why I was really like locked in on like I got to figure this out. Like if this is what I'm gonna do, if I'm gonna do a trade, like this is the time.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I'm going to barber school. I'm working a job, not doing my schoolwork. And then what really set it off for me was I had an altercation with the bus driver.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So
physical. Oh shit! He was a little YN running around. What did he do?
So at the time, like we had like these attendance sheets or whatnot that you had to like sit in an assigned seat. And you know,
school bus driver.
On a school bus driver.
Shit, that's even worse. I'm thinking like local transit, like Metro. That's funny. Okay, so go ahead.
It's a school bus driver, bro, and he's a grown man, like 40, 45 around there. And I hop on a bus, and we've had prior like conversational stuff where I'm just like, drive the bus correctly. Like that would piss me off. Like he wouldn't drive the bus correctly, and I would speak that.
Yeah. But probably not nicely.
Not nicely at all. And people around me would laugh, and I'm
so
sure
it's like egging it on. Yeah.
So that's where I was kind of being a little asshole. But
that's the old Brando.
That's the old me.
He ain't out here like that no more.
I'm chilling now. But yeah, we got into the altercation. He had like wrote my name as like Brandass. On like a school sheet of paper. Like this is supposed to be going to someone.
And you know the kids saw it.
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. I don't think so. He holds it to himself. It's not something that everybody sees.
He was letting you know that he thought you were an asshole. That's
well, he didn't think I seen it.
Okay.
So I guess he keeps it for himself or something. I don't know. So he wrote
souvenirs, serial killer souvenirs.
I'm like, I don't know. He wrote Brandass, and I'm like, I saw it when I got on the bus. I sat down, got back up to ask a question or something, and I look at the paper and it said Brandass. I'm like, maybe I'm tripping. So I'm cooling. I'm like, I'm sitting in my seat for the bus ride. I'm like, man, let me get to my destination before I do anything stupid. And then I get up, and the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, how am I gonna go about this? You know, because I have common sense. I know what's right and what's wrong. So I get up at the bus, and I got like all my friends behind me and whatnot. I didn't say nothing. I'm just like, let me go, like move, like let me get it through. And I asked him for the paper. I said, can I get that paper over there? Immediately he looks up. He's like, and he's like, yeah. And I look at it, and at this point, I'm like, I'm making sure I'm in the right before I even like
say anything.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at his A's. I'm looking at his S's. Like, is this just his spelling?
Right. And
I'm like, nah, that's definitely his A's, and that's definitely his S's. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, hey, what does that say? And he's like, Brandass. And I'm like, yo, do you think I'm stupid? And I'm hot-headed at this point. Like I was telling you earlier, like
that temper.
I had a temper, and this is where I realized I had a temper because of this situation. So we're going back and forth. I'm like, yo, you know how dumb you are? Like you could really get in trouble for this. And then he starts saying like, oh, like get out my face. Like I'm gonna get you like suspended or kicked off the bus, whatever. I'm like, you gonna get me suspended? I'm like, nah, you gonna get suspended. And I grabbed the paper, and immediately he like grabs my arm.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And
you're like, I'm his own, baby.
It was just one. You know what I'm saying? And people come in, move me out the way or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? It wasn't intentionally to like hurt him.
No, yeah, it was a responsive temper.
It was definitely like my temper. It was just, like I said, it's a switch. You know what I'm saying? And I felt it. And honest, if I'm being completely honest, it felt more like I felt the right to do it. And it was something I felt like I was holding in.
Yeah.
In terms of like, oh, finally I get an opportunity to let this out on somebody.
Yeah. I'm not wrong for this one. Mm-hmm. Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. So
did it feel good?
At the time, yeah, I felt good because I felt like I was in the right. I felt like I wasn't going to get in trouble for it.
And then you thought about it after, and you're like, damn, it's probably an asshole move.
Nah.
Nah, he deserved it.
Nah, yeah. Like I feel like if you put your hands on somebody, that's what to it. Because I'm somebody, you respect me, I respect you.
Right.
It goes both ways. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. Respect is respect. And that's how I was raised by my mom. And you know what I'm saying, something that always stuck with me forever. So as you can see, it's gotten me places where, you know what I'm saying, I got a little bit in trouble.
Yeah.
But I tell that story to say like, that was the switch for me. Because then, you know what I'm saying, obviously got taken into the guidance counselor, and you know what I'm saying, they went over my grades. They told my dad I wasn't doing any work.
Now this is after You've already started your journey in barbering.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I'm in barber school at this point.
Right. Like, that's what I mean. You're actively working towards it.
Yep. So I basically told him I wasn't doing any work, and like basically like I could get kicked out of barber school if I don't get tighten up my grades. Mm-hmm. So I get put in night school now.
Oh shit.
So
and he's your bus drop. No, I'm just playing.
No. So I get put in night school, and then that's, you know what I'm saying? If I'm in the classroom, I'm gonna do my work. I'm not just a lazy sack of potatoes. So I'm doing my work, and I'm moving pretty fast through everything. I catch up on everything I'm supposed to catch up on. It's really easy. I'm having a good time. But that's when I started to look into self-development. That's when I picked up my first book. And my first book, I remember the title was Calming the Tiger Within, something like that.
That's fitting. I just got a giant tiger piece on my back. Yeah. I put that tiger right there. That's where I keep it. No,
yeah, I've always had a thing for tigers and lions. So
Same.
So the title like really attracted me. It was an audiobook. And that's really where my first piece of self-development came in, because I'm just like, man, like I need to do something about this. You know, I realized I had to change. That it was my first like moment where I really looked at myself, and you know what I'm saying, for a long time I told myself like, oh, I'm good. I'm a good person, this, that, the third. Like I've always been real, authentic, but I knew that was a part of me that I was really lacking. So yeah. That was my first step of self-development. And from there, you know what I'm saying, it was just more books. I fell in love with reading again. Like,
this is during night school that you're doing this, or after?
This is like in like my free time. Like,
okay,
in my free time, I just learned to enjoy reading and mindset, meditational stuff, like peace of mind, things of that nature. And throughout that time was really where I was gaining a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience in terms of like just knowing how to control myself and creating the dream character that I have for myself, the person that I knew I could be, being peaceful, being patient, things like that.
If you don't mind, when you finished barber school, this was in New York?
Yes.
Right? So when you finished barber school, was your first barbershop outside of school in New York, or was that when you moved to Florida? When did that transition happen? That
came about in New York. I was definitely still in New York. I was cutting out there for about a year and some change.
How was that, by the way? Because, you know, I was born in New York, but I was raised down here in Florida, Orlando, Kissimmee area. So I always had ties to New York, but I wasn't like, I'm talking about 1 year old. So you ask me where I'm from, I'm gonna tell you Florida. Yeah. Right. And if you ask me where I'm born, I'll tell you New York. But so I have the ties there, the family. I'm aware of the culture, all that. But my home and what made me is Florida, and I know that the dynamic of the culture is different. We get a lot of New Yorkers here as well as Puerto Ricans. You know, they talk about going to Florida. They're going to say Orlando. They're not talking about. They're talking. That's it. Where you going? Orlando could be anywhere in Florida, right? Yeah. So we get a little bit of that, and I know that the barbershop environment I came up in here in Kissimmee, Orlando, which I love. Shout out Fade Factory, the old hotspot barbershop. I want to do for the record, I want to do a cool video where I go over there and talk to the OGs that I came up with. But anyway, I digress. So, and then when I used to go to New York with my cousins and all and go to the barbershop every once in a while, get a clean up for the braids, whatever, it was totally different. Like, it was still a barbershop, but the dynamic, the culture, the vibes was different. So for you, obviously you had spent all that time living in New York. What was that experience like for you as a new barber in New York? And what was the difference once you became a barber here in Florida? Give me a little bit of that compare and contrast.
So I was in Long Island. I wasn't in a city in New York. So Long Island is a little more like slower paced. Still the same, I guess, like attitude and environment in a sense, but it's a lot slower paced, a little bit more suburby. So I was in a barbershop. It was like 4 or 5 other barbers. They were all co-owners. So it was a straight Dominican barbershop.
Oh, shoot.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I had to tighten up my Spanish a lot while I was in there. But they all had their clientele. So it was a perfect situation for me, even though it was a really small barbershop, kind of run down, if I'm being honest. The location was pretty decent. And at one point in time, they were the hottest barbershop in the area, you know? They were like the first people out there doing skin fades.
Okay. So what was the name? What was the name of the shop?
Art Barbershop.
Shout out Art Barbershop. Yeah, they still over there?
Yeah, they still there, man. Good. I get some love from them over there. They still follow me on my journey and very supportive. You know what I'm saying? They were great to me. So nothing bad I could say on that.
For sure.
They gave me an opportunity, bro. Like literally one day I'm sitting there and I'm just like, you know what? Let me call some barbershops. I'm about to get out of barber school soon. Let me call some barbershops and see who has availability. And I'm literally like, mind you, I don't even have a car at this point. Like, so I'm like, all right, just what are the closest people that would give me a chance? So I'm barbershops and Google. I'm calling every single one by one, and nobody's like, oh nah, we don't have. Nobody picked up. Actually, they were the first people to pick up, and and they was like, I was like, oh, I'm wondering if you guys are hiring, looking for a barber. He said, yeah. I said, oh, okay, cool. He said, you could come by today? I said, oh, today?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, yeah, I'll come by later. And I go, and I don't know what to expect. Like, I'm just like, I got some like booty pair clippers. They're just like, all right, come, give me a fade and let me see what you got. Terrible. It was awful. Just still in barber school. I sucked bad.
Was it a mid fade?
It was a mid fade.
Okay, classic.
He was kind of chubby. He had like lumps in his head.
Oh, that's hard. They set you up for it. They set you up.
Yeah. So it was awful. It took me a long time. But they were still like, you know what? Like, just come and, you know what I'm saying? Whenever you got some time, just come learn how to cut. And, you know, as a beginner barber, that's the biggest blessing you could ask for. It's just the opportunity to open your door and like let me in. You know what I'm saying? So I was bouncing between that. I was probably I was only able to go like once, twice a week.
Okay. Because you were still in school.
I was in school. I had work. But I was hustling. I'm just like, yo, I got to do this. And eventually, what was funny, what transitioned me from quitting Dunkin' Donuts and going full-time barbering, we was in barber school, and for some reason we had this project or whatever of how to fill out a letter of resignation, a proper one, you know what I'm saying, something professional. And I literally used that same template to quit my job at Dunkin' Donuts. So it was literally as soon as I made it, I sent it over to my manager.
This wasn't practice. This was me resigning.
This is it. This is exactly what I needed. So once I quit that full time, you know, she was like, oh no, barbering is not good. You know, that's not a steady source of income. Like you're not gonna make it. It's literally what she told me. Like you're not gonna make it.
Damn.
Yeah, because you know, we was talking about like scarcity and abundance mindset.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She felt like she was losing something and she had to latch on. So that was my first taste of that. And, you know, in this game, you'll get a lot of taste of that. A lot of different people telling you like, oh, this, you can't do this. Like, it's not going to work out. I tried it. It didn't work. I knew people that tried it. It didn't work.
Yeah. Hey, that's not me though. That's not me. Don't put that on me.
No.
You said something funny, actually. When you mentioned that they were the only shop that pulled up, I had an experience that you just reminded me of it. A few weeks ago, I'm on the golf course and I get a call because I carry the shop phone with me just to make sure I can always answer it. And he called me. I picked up. He was asking me about an appointment. New guy, hadn't been here before, and he asked. I told him how to make an appointment. That I had availability the next day. Blah blah blah. Gave him the link. He booked. Comes in the next day, and while I'm cutting his hair, he's like, you know what? I really appreciate you answering the phone the other day and, you know, talking to me because, you know, I had called like 4 other shops that day and you were the only person who gave me the time of day to see what I was calling for.
Yeah.
He said multiple shops didn't pick up at all. Not that doesn't ever happen here, by the way. You know, sometimes you get caught up, you miss a call, even though I always try to call back. Yeah. It's funny, by the way, you miss a call, you call right back 2 minutes later. Hey, brother, I just missed a call from this. No, I didn't call. Like, bro, just say like you're good. Like, don't lie. I know you called me.
Literally.
But so anyway, he's like, yeah, I had just right before I called you, he said, I just called a barbershop. The guy picked up the phone. And without letting him even finish his sentence, he asked, oh, do I have to make an appointment, walk in, whatever. And he said that the barber was like, oh, sorry, man. Didn't even let him finish. And was like, sorry, man, we're really busy. It's a holiday. We're not going to be able to get you in. Boop, hung up the phone. Wow. Before he even finished telling him why he wasn't even calling to come in that day. He was calling to get an appointment like for another day.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, like, it's not hard to be successful. All you got to do is be a genuine, courteous person. Have some respect. Treat people right. All he wanted to do was find some information out. And somebody just made all these assumptions, jumped the gun, and then lost the opportunity to A, put money on your table, right? Mm-hmm. But B, give someone the reason to come see you and understand what you guys are providing.
Exactly.
So that just goes to show, even somebody like you at that time who was looking for a barbershop, you know, all those places, probably were like, damn, we can't fill these chairs, but like, don't even answer the phone.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that just goes to show how often that kind of thing happens. And all these barbers, I talk to a lot of young barbers coming up. There's a couple barber schools in town, and a lot of times they'll have to go out and interview with barbershops and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I tell them all the same thing. Like, look, don't act like your shit don't stink. You know what I'm saying? Like, be a good person, treat people right, like, and don't try to be something you're not. You have to be genuine, be yourself, and find your tribe. Let those people see why they want to come to you. Because if somebody doesn't vibe with you, then that's cool, but let them find a barber they do. Don't try to bring people in that don't click with you, because it's not going to work.
Yep.
You know, so once you came out of that barbershop, was that the only barbershop in New York, or did you move to Florida after that?
Yeah, I moved to Florida after that.
And then how'd you get into a shop over here? What was that like?
So actually I had came to Florida for vacation with to see my step siblings. I haven't seen them in a long time. Probably like 10 years, something like that. So when I came back, I saw them, chill with them, and I'm just like, man, this feels good. And so they were staying over there in Davenport. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I want to come here next year. Like, that was my goal. It was like, by this time next year, I'm gonna be moving over here. And so obviously it happened. And then I moved in with my stepbrother. Mm-hmm. He was cool enough to let me stay till I got on my feet or whatnot. And he was telling me, he gave me the rundown on the shops in the area, what's busy, what's popping. So he led me to Pure Cuts. And that's where I've been at since then.
Pure Cuts is the name of it. Shout out Pure Cuts for giving Brando blends a home. You feel me?
Gave me an opportunity as well.
So what was that difference like between your experience at Davenport versus Long Island?
It was a different world, bro. I got into it. It was a big shop. 10, 11 barbers.
Wow, that is a big shop.
A big shop. It had a nice name for itself already. It was a whole different world compared to what I was in. A lot of different ethnicities. You know what I'm saying? Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, like Cuban, like everybody, you know what I'm saying? A lot of different people with different characters. So it was a very new experience for me, and I was the youngest guy there.
Still,
obviously. Yeah, I was the youngest.
Well, you started young, so you're bound to be the youngest guy for a long time. And did you feel like that was an upgrade? Like in terms of the environment?
1,000%. 1,000%. Because, you know, where I was at in Long Island, like, they're all pretty old. Like I said, they're stuck in their ways or whatnot. Nothing wrong with that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but they're not on the path that you were trying to go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I hit a ceiling, you know what I'm saying? And it got to the point where I was like, all right, cool, I'm ready for the next level. And this was definitely the next level. I'm looking at the barbers around. I'm like, oh, these guys are nice.
Yeah, something to aspire to learn from. Yeah,
exactly. Good. So it was definitely a level up. And at this point is when I'm really like locking in on content. I'm starting to like really hone in on like, all right, I got to bring in clientele. But mostly the biggest difference I felt was just definitely the vibe, but more so like it felt like I had to step my game up.
In terms of skills, like technical skills?
Okay. Because I've always been like, you know what I'm saying, people person. I could talk, I could communicate. I was always good at that. But in terms of skill, I'm like, oh, these guys are different. You know, they're in the game. They got their clientele. They've been doing this for a while. So if I wanted to stay here, you know what I'm saying, my chair was the last chair available. So I felt like I had to prove myself. And if I can't prove myself with simply skill, then I got to show up in every other aspect.
And were they providing that feedback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely had help. Shout out my boy T-Boo Cuts, bro. He was major, man. I met him pretty much right away. We got really close really fast. He was probably the second youngest guy there. So we clicked really well, and he was a blessing in my journey to learning how to cut. And I would always ask him for feedback, and he'd always tell me the truth.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to coddle you and be like, "Hey, man, you're doing great."
Yeah.
We all need that. But again, you're not looking at it as a victim, right? You took that constructive criticism and said, "Okay, thank you."
Yeah.
Because people aren't going to always give that shit to you, bro. Yeah. And I pride myself on that. Like, if I have to choose something to be proud of, that's the thing, is like, bro, because if you can't trust your people to keep it real with you, then who are you going to trust? You can't have yes men with you all the time.
Yep, facts.
You know, and who wants that anyway, bro? Like, bro, have your own opinion.
Yeah.
Like, and if you have an opinion, I hope you have a valid reason to have that opinion. Right. So I was watching your story yesterday, creeping a little bit, you know, not even creeping, but I knew you were coming on the show. I see you posted. I'm like, hey, what's he got going on? Yeah. So you were kind of displaying on your story, from what I remember when you first started doing content, and doing $35 haircuts and all that. What was your journey at the beginning of content? What was your perspective? Were you thinking, oh, I got to post so people know what I'm doing? Or how did that start? Because I have some follow-up questions for the journey. Yeah. So where was your content journey as a barber started?
So I've always, you know what I'm saying, initially as a barber, I always think of everything as like it was a portfolio. You know, a lot of barbers, we start off and we're like, man, like, I definitely want to show my content somehow. But the important thing is like not just showing it as a portfolio, which is what I was doing initially, but you know what I'm saying, actually creating content.
Right.
Because what I was seeing, the reason I started doing it was started taking it more serious is because I was seeing like these $100 barbers popping up.
Okay.
$75 a haircut, $80 a haircut, $100. And I'm like, man, these guys are doing it right. And I realized like their content started to look similar. So I'm like, oh, like this is a pattern. You know what I'm saying? This isn't just something that people are coming up with by accident. Mm-hmm. There's a pattern behind this. And before and afters aren't cutting it. You know what I'm saying? Showing just the after of a haircut wasn't getting anybody any views, any likes. You know what I'm saying? What was bringing in clientele and those higher paying people was that creating actual content, voiceovers, you know what I'm saying? Right. Action videos.
What real quick, before you go a little further, what was it that you liked of that from the content you were seeing? What did you resonate with and then decide to replicate?
Results.
That was it. Yeah.
That was it. Because I mean, when I entered the barber game, it's like my eyes were set on 100,000 a year,
and that was your origin, was looking at high paying jobs, trades. Okay,
right.
Okay.
So if I'm nowhere near, and being at the other barbershop, those guys were nowhere near either.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, bro, this isn't gonna cut it. You know what I'm saying? What do I have to do to get to that next level? So when I saw it was the content, the people that was doing it, you know what I'm saying? They had great content. So that was it. I'm just like, this is what I got to do. And I got to get the best I possibly can at this. And then the rest will go from there.
And what was that content that you started on? Like, how did you start to shift from the before and after photos to the content, the substance, you know?
So before I got a mentor, before I got a coach, I was just trying to copy what they were doing. Obviously, I didn't know what to copy, but I was just trying to copy what they were doing, or at least to the best of my ability. And it was really just showing the process of the haircut. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of barbers don't think that's important. But if you go to the doctor, you know what I'm saying, you're going to trust a doctor that can show you how he goes about things rather than the doctor that just says, oh, this is the finished product.
Right. Because then it's like, yeah, but really, how'd you get there?
Yeah. Like, are you really as good? Like, are you really that good?
And social media is a real easy way to fake that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, we see people do it with their lives all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay. And then you started to see a shift, but not quite where you're at now.
No, definitely not, man. You know, I like to say like growth is when you're growing like that, especially like social media is just one instance. But if you talk about life in general, it's not like a steady incline, you know. It's more like it's really rough at the start, but then you start to get a little bit of momentum and you just blow up, you know. So that's really how it was for me. I think I was more so focused on just like putting my head down and just grinding, just figure it out, you know. So that's where I would say like a lot of it switched for me.
Now, obviously, I know your driving force was getting to that income level, right? And obviously you did the work in studying how to get there. So once you started to execute on that, did you discover anything through the content creation or the process and applying these methods to your career on a day-to-day basis? Were you enjoying that, or were you just focused on the result? Or were you actually like, what parts did you actually enjoy, or do you actually enjoy, if any?
Oh man, I'm all about the growth. If I could see myself growing, I'm a self-development junkie.
Right.
Like if I could see myself growing, bro, I'm like, oh yeah, this is where I want. Even if like I'm not seeing like a physical return in terms of money, or like my body isn't probably getting better from what I'm doing. Knowing I'm putting in the work, my inputs are on point. That's where I'm like, all right, cool. I feel good. I feel productive.
So you're not just tunnel visioned on the money.
No.
It's growth as a whole.
Right.
And how would you feel you've grown aside from, you know, your income, which I would like to also get to. But aside from growing your income on an appointment basis, what elements would you say you've grown the most in through this journey of content creation and barber?
Man, like joining programs and stuff, bro. Like my main goal is just like, I want to be a dog, bro. Like my self-discipline, my self-control, like being able to tell myself I'm going to do something, keeping my word to myself, because we see all of our mistakes. So really where I've grown is holding myself accountable. You know what I'm saying? Being responsible for where I am in life.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Growing my mindset in that aspect is everything I can ask for. Because I know if I could do that right, everything else is a piece of cake, bro. So trusting, growing in that way is really what set me off to be like, this is what I love to do. I love this grind. I love this journey of growth.
So if a barber comes to you and tells you, hey, bro, because I didn't specifically look, but I know you're like $100 for an appointment, right? So for a lot of people, that's insane, even though you and I know that there are barbers and obviously your mentors who have replicated that many times over. Right. But a barber who's not as informed comes to you and says, how do you do that? What do I do to get to the point of making $100? What direction are you going to tell them to go? And how are you going to tell them to do that?
It's not about your skills. That's where everybody goes wrong. It doesn't matter how good you are. It's about business. It's about marketing. How many people actually see what you do? Right. I'm not booked up because I'm the best barber. I'm booked up because A, I solve a problem, and B, there's so many people that want me to fix their problem. I have no choice but to raise my prices to move the ceiling. Right. I'm saying if I'm at $35 a cut and I'm doing 200 cuts, how many more cuts can I really take? Yeah. You know? Right. So the goal is not to work more. The goal is to work less and make more. Right. So by the only way to really grow as a barber is by raising your value. How do you raise your value? Supply and demand. So if I was to tell a barber anything, is get more demand, get more people to want your product, and that way you eliminate the lower tier people that maybe don't value you as much, and you receive the higher paying clients that really value you and what you do. Now that barber is going to say, okay, playing devil's advocate here, that barber is going to say, okay, market myself more. I'm going to take more before and after pictures of my haircut, and I'm going to do it every single day on every single haircut. That's probably not going to help them get to where they're going to go. Right? Would you say that, or would you say that's not enough? Because the reason I'm asking is because I saw through your story that was a part of your growth, right? Was these before and afters aren't cutting it. Yeah. Why? And what should they do from there? You know, like in terms of, obviously it's personal, right? It's specific to the individual. But for somebody watching this who's gonna take what you just said and, you know, looking at the common person and say, okay, I'm just gonna post more pictures and post more before and afters. Yeah. What guidance would you or rebuttal would you give them for that? Well, I ask you this, bro. I mean, like, what have you been doing? Oh, I've been posting. I have a portfolio on Instagram. Okay, where's that gotten you? You've been cutting hair for 8 years now. You know, say nothing wrong with it, but at some point you have to realize, like, okay, what I'm doing isn't working. It hasn't gotten me the results, you know? So it's like, what is the alternative? If you're not gonna post content and do this, what is the alternative? Before and afters? Okay, cool. You're gonna keep doing before and afters. How many people are seeing this? How many new clients are you bringing in from these before and afters? You know, cool. Like, you got a lot of barbers liking your stuff. You're the best barber in the city, quote unquote. But you're still killing yourself to make $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month. If that. You know how barbering is. So in terms of the before and afters versus the content, what are the results? You know what I'm saying? What are you getting out of what you're putting in? That's pretty much it. Okay. That's solid. I mean, I'm thinking about myself too, right? Because everything you're saying is on point to what I've discovered in my journey. You know, our initial driving factors are a little bit different, but ultimately it's the same path. And of course, I went through the before and after phase as well. I wouldn't even say phase. It's a necessary thing to do to build your portfolio and to show people your work. Right. And you shouldn't stop doing that. Right. But you have to find, and I'm speaking for myself, and if you have a contradiction or your own version, please, you know, hop in. But for me, we talked earlier a little bit about I forgot. You said a really good quote. It was remind me. It was like profit or purpose. Yeah. Impact being someone who's impact driven or profit driven. Impact or profit driven. Okay. So for me, I translate that into knowing your purpose, right? And going with the impact side, because obviously making money is important for me and everyone else, but we all value money differently. And the way that we perceive the flow of money is different. So for me, I always knew, okay, yeah, I do want people to see my content,
But for me being impact driven, it's okay, but how is my content going to provide value? And is it in line with the way that I want people to understand my business and my goals and my mission, right? So for me, I focus on the podcast because it's what I love to do. And it's what I think is most valuable about me and my shop. Not just what I'm saying, but the conversations that go on in here, right? So that's where I tend to lean. And even when I made a lot of great content with my clients, a lot of it, if it wasn't just, for entertainment or fun, it has to do with our conversations and the value that we've grown and learned from. So when I look at the barbers who are posting content before and afters or just emulating maybe something that you do, I think that they're missing, much like you said you were, when you're copy and pasting the format, you're missing what it is that you can bring to the table through the content. Mm-hmm. What do you think it is that you're bringing to the table through your content that is making the impact that you're making? Because before I give you the floor on that, I know I told you a little bit about the story, but I just want to give my version of the story to the people and how I met you.
Yeah.
Because I had a lady come in with her son, and we always ask people how they meet us. Her son ended up going with Elo, our boy Eric here. And as we're starting the conversation, she tells me that her son is looking at this barber in Orlando who's like charges $120 or $130, whatever she said. And I'm like, okay, cool. And she said, but before we drive 2 hours for this $120 haircut, I begged him to let me just see if I can find something of the same quality here.
Yeah.
So luckily, this is where she landed, which I'm glad to say. She put us in the same, realm. And they loved the haircut. It was a great time. And before they left, I had to ask, being from that area, who's a barber?
Yeah.
She said, Brando Blends. Looked you up first to see if I knew you, and of course I didn't. But now, especially doing this, we got to tap in with everybody, right? And as soon as I saw your content, I was like, oh, this guy's great. Like I saw like 2 videos, and then the how long the list was, I didn't get time to look through it all, but I could just tell. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, this guy's got motion. He's doing good things. He has people trying to drive 2 hours. A kid whose mom is actually willing to drive him and pay that. But she said, but before I do, let me just see first, So the fact that you have that, I feel awesome when I have a client come from 2 hours away, and it's not just for me. They happen to be here for another reason, but they're saying, but if I'm going to go, I'm going to get my hair cut there. That feels good.
Yeah.
So to know that you have people going there specifically for a haircut, and I'm sure it's not the first time you've heard it, considering the motion that you have. It's an incredible thing to know that, like you said, you're marketing yourself and your value for people to be willing to do that. That's a lot. It's not that they're driving 2 hours to pay for a haircut. Yeah. They're driving 2 hours to pay for a top dollar. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you mentioned that had to do with. Oh, I'm sorry. I took the floor from you because I wanted to tell you about how I came about you. So their question was, given that backstory, why did that kid want to drive 2 hours to get his hair cut by you, and why do you think so many do?
It comes down to one thing: problem and solution. Mm-hmm. Everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna go to somebody. Kids are traumatized, right? They're really young. They're in school, or anybody, a grown man, has receding corners or whatever. A lot of people are very sensitive about their hair, and like I said, it comes down to value. How do people value what you do? Mm-hmm. So what I do is I solve a problem. Straight flat hair. Specifically niche down all the way down to that. That's all that matters. Straight flat hair. And what I do, I add texture, I give it a nice shape, and I do a taper underneath that. Mm-hmm. So they value that. What's the most popular haircut right now?
That fringe, bro.
That blowout taper textured fringe.
That's it.
I
hate those haircuts, bro. Like, okay, let me just preface. I don't hate the haircut. It's and your work is obviously you've niched down. It's fantastic. I do my best to emulate that, right? I appreciate the challenge. I appreciate the difference in styles and looks and stuff like that. But I'm like a classic skin fade barber. You know what I'm saying? And I say that proudly just because that's my origin of barbershop stories and history and what I grew up with. So I love that.
Yeah.
As much as I love those cool things that they're doing, and I love the fact that that's a thing that we can craft, I don't have the most fun doing it. Yeah. That's the only reason I have clients that I love seeing every time, and that's what they get. And I love doing the best I can for them.
Yeah.
But they're not the haircuts I enjoy the most.
I feel you.
How did you end up niching down on that?
Bro, it started off in Long Island. So they would throw me all the booty clients, all the clients with crazy long hair. I got all these teenagers. And, at that time, I was starting to see it come a little bit more. The textured tops, the fringes. So that was kind of my clientele already. The type of people that like getting haircuts by me, and just the simple fact that I was open to using the shears and wanting to get better and understand, that opened up a whole door for me. So same with the transformations. Like, I realized barbers don't like the long curly haired clients. Barbers don't like dealing with the textured tops. They don't understand layering hair. So that was a field that I was like, oh, this is where the money is. Because you can make a lot of money where there's a lot of people in that realm, and it could get spread out, you know what I'm saying, in a decently for everybody. Or you could go somewhere where there's no competition. And everyone in that needs that specific thing, it goes to you, because you're the only one, you know what I'm saying, only one in that space that can do that.
Right. Or that they know of.
That they know.
And that they see consistently performing that. Right. And then it's like, well, why am I going to take my chance with anyone else if I know for a fact this guy's doing what I'm going to do?
This guy can do exactly what I need. This client has the same exact hair textures, the same length as I do, the same cowlick, and he was able to get him right. Yeah. Why wouldn't he be able to do that for me?
Now, now back to kind of where I gave my input, how do you feel about the process of those haircuts? Do you thoroughly enjoy it? Is it more of just a driving force of your niche? Like, give it to me real here. How do you feel about it?
So obviously, I love lineups. I love taper. I love high tapers. Like, that's my shit. Right. I love that. You know what I'm saying? If I could choose, that's what I would choose. But like I said, I'm here for a specific reason. One, to make money, and two, to impact people. So if I am more needed in this space, then that's where I'm going. Yeah,
and that's why that's your why, that's your purpose, and that's why. So versus, as opposed to my perspective of it, it's the fact that that's so aligned with your mission is why you enjoy that. Yeah. It's not necessarily the fact that it's your favorite haircut.
Right, dude. Right. Look, like, when I tell you these kids are actually traumatized.
I know, bro, but go ahead. Please tell me your experience.
Dude, they come in traumatized, like scared, fearful.
Shaken,
frozen. Like, there's a reason why parents are willing to pay $100, $125, $150, $200 for a haircut when their kids come out so happy, dude.
And it changes how they are behaving.
Bro.
Right.
And mind you, like, how school is, bro. Like, these kids get bullied. You know what I'm saying? You get a bad haircut, you're getting bullied. Especially
now with all the barber content, it's like, oh, your fade's cooked.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, look at that cowlick. Like, oh gosh. And in their defense, I've seen what these barbers are doing to these kids, bro. Oh my God. It's like, bro, you're better off cutting less hair. Like,
that's why they grow their hair out, dude.
Yeah, and then they're afraid to get a real cut. I get them in here all the time, and I'm the old guy, you know what I'm saying, talking shit, and I'm like, yo, y'all need to cut that shit. And it's not because I understand, it's because they're traumatized. And like you're saying, man, I have the kids who come in here, and that's what hits my heart, pulls on my heartstrings, you know what I'm saying? Because they shouldn't feel that bad about it, and they shouldn't feel afraid of the barbershop. They shouldn't feel like they can't talk. Sometimes they don't even they can't even express what they feel or what they think to you because of their traumatization and fear. So then finally, when you let them relax and show them, like, you really have to show them, like, yo, I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy to just do whatever I want. Like, once you're my client, it's a little different. I might just do whatever I want, but
because I know what you want
in a loving way. Yeah. But I'm not, especially with a kid that is fragile in that way, in that moment. It's like, bro, I'm here to make you feel good. So just take your time with me. Look, you see what I'm doing? You see, relax. Like, you're good. I got you. I'm not going to because they're used to telling somebody just to trim and then they just buzz it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And to see that we're instilling that confidence is a beautiful thing. And I think that's a common conversation. The reason I'm asking you about the niching down and all that, because as much as I would like to niche down and do for the other side of the benefits of what you're creating, we're on two different paths, two different missions. But I think it's beautiful that now I can help spread that information, because that's an element that I haven't yet fully understood, because I'm not the niche type of person.
Yeah.
Just by nature, I'm all over, right? Like I'm like the jack of all trades guy. Yeah. So even if I wanted to niche down to feel in myself like I'm doing my purpose and fulfilling, I would feel like I need to touch more people. You know what I mean? And I'd rather have like 4 guys like you niche down. Yeah. And I think that's probably, what do you think? Do you think that's something that kind of gets you a little bit? How do you feel about it?
Nah, man. My thing is I want to touch my people.
Yeah.
I want to touch the people that need me, you know? So it's like, cool. It's like, I could save all these people, but like, truthfully, there's people out there that only can be saved by you specifically.
I like that.
And I like those people because the impact is a lot more. It's a lot stronger. Yeah. Compared to helping out someone who's kind of like, yeah, like he did it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not worth it to them, you know, compared to, I only cut like 7 heads a day, to be honest. And like, 7 new clients in a day. And they all like come in, like they're kind of groggy. They're maybe a little bit nervous. They get doing the big chop. Yes. And they leave, bro. And it's just straight smiles ear to ear. Parents are excited because, wow, I've never seen my kid smile like that after a haircut. They come back 2 weeks, a month later, and they're like, he was looking at himself the whole month. He was feeling himself, you know.
Couldn't wait to come back.
Couldn't wait, you know. And they're like, dude, their confidence is just different. The way they're talking, it's like I'm their big brother, and it's like, how would I not want to, you know, serve these people, you know, when they value me so much and they put me on this like it's real love, you know, it's genuine, like,
because
dude,
you save them.
Yeah.
You save them. Literally. You're not just the guy who cut their hair. It's like, this is a huge problem in my life and you fixed it. Yeah. And you there for the next time they need it. Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing, bro. I feel like now I need to niche down on high temps and skin and high skin fade. That's it. Don't come back to me unless you need a high temp or a skin fade, which we did on you. Hey, I got to cut your hair today. I appreciate you.
Shout out to him, man. He blessed me up, bro.
I'm ready for the next turn, though. You know how it goes. You do your first cut on somebody and you're like, we need to run it back. I got it now. You know what I'm saying? But it looks good. I'm happy. I probably still won't niche down. Eventually, you know what I mean? Eventually, I feel like once I do what I'm trying to do on another level, but I think that, again, I really appreciate you sharing, because as having barbers in the shop that we're trying to develop and grow into with their own lanes, the lanes that they want to go into, I think that what you're sharing is valuable, and to everybody watching. I'm curious, you said you do about 7 haircuts a day. And you do a lot of content. So are you filming every single haircut? No. And is this, I'm going to do your clients, I'm guessing, no, like, yeah, you're probably going to be, and I'm probably are excited about it. Like, hey, I'm going to be on the next one. Yeah. How do you deal with your content? How do you maneuver that?
Right now I'm actually in like a little switch, because I'm coaching now. I got students that, who I show how to create content and scale their business. So right now I'm switching over a little bit, but before, when I was doing consultations or whatnot, the funny videos or whatever, to bring in clients, to bring in more people, that was more so like, I go based off of the vibe. Like a good relationship is going to make the best video. The best chemistry is going to make the best video. So when they come in, they're like, hey, what's up, bro? This, that, the third. I'm like, oh yeah,
we're going to record this.
Yeah. Or, you know, really long hair is just like, I was like, that's easy. We could do that all day.
Transformation. Because that's what brought you in.
That's what sells.
Yeah.
You know, like,
whoa.
Yeah. Turning them around in the chair and they're like, no, they really, you know. So that's what sells. So things like that, and then obviously just people with a good vibe, bro.
That's my favorite. That's my niche. My niche is vibes, bro. Yeah. I don't care what haircut you want. If you got good vibes and you're trying to get better, like you said, personal and professional development, bro. That's what I'm about. That's what I love. It's like, I'm doing nothing in my life but trying to be better for myself and the people around me. And I want to continue to push that needle by allowing other people a space where they can be vulnerable enough to know that, bro, we're all working on ourselves. And that's what my favorite compliment, bro, is for when people walk in that door. And you kind of said it a little bit. When people walk in and they feel the energy, there was nobody in here when you came in today. It was just, I think Jimmy was the only person. Yeah. It wasn't like him and a client or anything. No, it was just Jimmy. And then when I came, you were also here. And it's like, you could step into this room empty and just feel the love. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel the energy. And I don't just say that because it's mine. I say it because everyone who walks through that door for the first time, most of them say that. Yeah. It's like an unwarranted just diarrhea of the mouth. It's like, man, I love the vibe in here.
If you don't mind me like saying this, like, owners, pay attention. Like, these things matter. You know, the smell. Like, I walked in here and the smell was calming and soothing. Like, these things matter. Like, you have things set in place that makes everything accessible, easy, clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things people notice when they walk in. And if you don't pay attention to these small things, eventually it's going to build. People are going to tell. And if you don't have that instant, like, oh, like, finally, like, I'm here. You know, like if clients don't feel that, you're replaceable.
Yeah.
You know, so I just wanted to point that out. You've done a great job.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. For real, I appreciate that. Like I said, man, that's my favorite, because if there's anything I want people to feel is comfortable. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? We might not know what you want. You might not know what you want, but just chill out. Let's vibe out. Let's figure it out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? No pressure. And I'm known as the slow talkative barber. We're like, bro, if you're in a rush, you probably shouldn't book me. I'm not trying to be slow, but I enjoy the vibe so much, and I enjoy curating that for people. That's you're fine, brother. Hey, that happens on Joe Rogan all the time. Now we're official. So when people feel that energy and they feel that comfort, I don't even my mission is accomplished. Yeah. You know, so my goal is to continue pushing that, having guys like you come in here and share their stories and share the gems, you know. Yeah. There's too much success for us to be gatekeeping information. Yeah. You know, so you said you're going to be putting down the Clippers soon. Where do you think you're going to be going from here? I mean, I know you said hopefully by the end of the year. What do you got all these straight hair clients that are looking for a lifesaver. What are you going to do with them? Where are they going to go?
I don't know. I might just sell my clients off to somebody. You know?
Hey, you're going to have to drive to Ocala. Come through. We're going to have the Brando. Yo, you should. How would you totally thought of this in the spot? How would you feel about coming to do a class here? Have you ever considered doing stuff like that, or what do you think?
Honestly, bro, I enjoy the business. Like I always say, like I'm a business person who happened to become a barber.
Same.
So like
I understand.
For me, it's like classes, like they're dope, but I don't really see myself as like a teacher, so to say. Mm-hmm. Like it's definitely something that's a little bit out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm.
Might be a good thing too, though.
Yeah, right? I mean, for sure. Which is what the type of content I'm doing now is more so like educational, teaching people how I do these types of haircuts and what goes into it. So pay attention to that. You know, that'll be coming out soon. So now is this because you're going in the coaching direction that you're going to be doing that content? Okay. Right. So I want to be able to show people, like, aside from, you know, the funny videos that was bringing in clientele. Now I want to show barbers, you know, provide value, give them things where they're benefiting off of. Mm-hmm. So obviously opening a door to them trusting me, to them seeing like, oh, this guy has a lot of value. You know, aside from just being someone who's made it, he's giving things out. He's giving out this information that helped him get there. Right. So that's why more so I'm leaning into that now, and I'm getting out of my comfort zone and hopping in that field of things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's been something that if I'm being honest, I never felt comfortable being like a teacher of barbering, because in this game, you know, we're always learning. So it's hard to consider yourself someone as like a master or like a teacher.
I hate that term, master barber. Yeah. I've always hated it. I'm glad that Florida does not have that designation, but it's hilarious how many barbers will put that on their thing, whatever their thing is. Yeah. Because I know there are states where that's a designation. Yeah. Like you have they do that. That's what I thought. Where it's like, I understand there because it's legally the designation, but it's like you don't have the right here in Florida to put master barber. A, because it doesn't exist here, right? And B, are you really? You know what I'm saying? Like for somebody that claimed master barber, at least for me, it's like I've rarely seen somebody say that, and I feel that they actually are. Yeah. The ones who I feel actually are not the ones who say that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you understand that. Although I would challenge your idea only to say that, yeah, we are always learning, bro, but don't forget what we talked about in terms of the fact that you're a leader for a bunch of people who haven't gotten to where you are yet. Yeah. So I do like teaching, not just barbering though. I like teaching about everything, life, you know. Now I'm not a niche down guy, right? But it's also because I like to connect everything to life as a whole. Agreed. I don't like it to just, if something is a niche, that's cool, but it's only because I'm using this as a tool to apply this to everything. 100%. So when I am teaching something, I make sure I'm like the fucking king of disclaimers, bro. I just always want people to know, like, look, I'm coming from this place of confidence and experience, but I'm not saying that this is law. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you this is how it applies and how it may or may not affect you in my experience and how I've seen through other experiences. Yeah. But there's so many people who teach as if it's written in stone, and this is law, and there's no other way. We talked earlier about mentors, and how sometimes a mentor can give you advice based on how they've gone through it, but it's not through the lens of your own lane and perspective. So just keep in mind, guys, that when somebody gives you advice, that it doesn't mean that that's the only way to apply the information. So I just say that to say, don't let that slow you down from an opportunity to be a teacher. Because obviously, bro, look, we're here having this conversation. I see the type of people that are going after your content, and you're like over 10 years younger than me, and I'm like, yo, this guy's doing great. Not that age matters, but it's like you're setting yourself well apart. You're doing something that is to be respected. You're doing it in a professional way. You got, like I said, you're doing great, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're exactly the type of person that exemplifies elevating barbering. Like that's what we're about. We're about sharing this message and then seeing how we can come together to push that forward. So I'm happy to continue seeing the content. Is there any messages that you are dedicated to presenting the barbering world? I know we talked about barber shows and hair shows you haven't been. Like what was the message you would like to tell if you had to tell any to barbers coming up in the game or aspiring to be like you in accomplishing what you have?
To not be niche down, bro. God and business go together. There's
for sure.
There's things that you will come across where you need some type of faith. And what are you putting that faith into yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, so if there was one message where I could tell people, include God in your business. He wants to join. He wants to come in. He wants to help you out. He wants you to trust in him. You know what I'm saying? So if there was one thing, it's just like, bro, just open yourself up to that. And like, or, you know what I'm saying? Just whatever you believe in. Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to sway nobody to anything. I let God do that. I'll plant a seed and I'll let God do his works if that's, you know what I'm saying, what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
But business and God go together. Like it's okay to have money and to praise God.
Absolutely.
It's things
you should. You definitely should.
Because if you're not praising him, you know what I'm saying, what's the
where's
alternative?
It going? Yep. Where is it going? And why?
Right.
Okay.
So that's it, bro. That's what I live by, and there was people, like I told you, I watch a lot of podcasts. So I watch people that talk about this and I love their perspective because it makes sense. I feel it in my spirit that this makes sense. This is okay. We have a God of abundance. He wants to bless us with these things, but we have to become the person that aligns with these things.
For sure.
You want to be successful in business? You have to have some type of value, You have to serve people. And that's the message that I want to put. Serve someone. Stop worrying about how much money is going into your pocket and worry about fixing someone's problem.
Right.
Worry about helping someone get to the next level. And as a byproduct, you will provide so much value that people will give away their money. So that's
as a byproduct.
That's a byproduct.
And that's where I think people conflate the two.
Yeah.
They think that serving is like, he paid me, so I'm going to do what he paid me for. That's not service.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Service is when we may be here for one reason, but let me figure out how much more I can give you here.
Yeah.
And then you see where that grows. And even if it doesn't grow back in the form of profit, it's like, bro, relationships are so much more valuable. The time people are willing to spend with you. And man, forget how many people I've helped as a barber, how many people have been in my chair and helped me grow, that helped put me in a room that I wasn't supposed to be in. That show up here every day knowing like, man, this guy's putting in work. Let me help. Let me push. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like it's valuable to have these conversations, because if we ain't helping each other, who's gonna do it? It's a better way to be, I think. So what do you think is the next big move for Brando? I know we're going to the coaching direction. What should people expect to see from you? You got anything cooking more specific than that, or no?
Be ready to be given everything I got, bro. Okay. Like I'm dropping every gem. I'm giving away all the information that I've learned, and even if I give you everything I've learned and I gave it to you for free, like me personally, I'm constantly growing as a person. So it's like there's certain things that you will come across in your journey. And obviously, if you're going down the route that I chose in terms of like scaling my barber business and whatnot, like there's so much that I just want to give away, so much that I just want to help people with. Like I'm here to serve, and I don't want to serve everybody. I want to serve the people that God has sent for me.
Absolutely.
So if you're looking for anything of that sort, like that's what I'm here for. This is my full purpose. I feel like coaching and helping people elevate in this way is exactly what God put me here for. He wanted me to help the barber game out. At first, I thought it was just to help with, barber clients' confidence with their haircut. And for a while it was. I did feel purposeful in that. But now that I've gotten to this space, I definitely feel like my job is to change barbers' lives.
Hell yeah.
Change people's lives, put food on their plate, you know what I'm saying? Help them raise a family, put them on game. You know what I'm saying? The wisdom that I've been given, spread that to other people. That way they could bless more people.
Yeah. That's what we're here for. I mean, that's perfectly aligned for the brand of our brand. Yeah. The podcast, it's like my perspective of what you said is that same thing is, okay, this is what we know. This is what we do. Let's use this to help as many people as we can. And then once we do that, let's expand that group of people. Yeah. Right. So obviously we have our income goals, our professional boundaries for our financial freedom. Where do you see yourself ultimately when you look at, okay, I've making my 6 figures, I'm comfortable, I got everything I need in place. What do you want to live? How do you want to move through life, and what do you think will be more impactful, or have you not yet quite figured that out?
I've definitely thought a lot about it. I really sat down and realized what's important, and I think it just comes down to freedom and time. Mm-hmm. And for me personally, like I think money's a tool. It's not nothing that'll make me happy. Obviously it lets me know I'm on the right track. It's good. It allows me to do things. It allows me to be free. It allows me to buy my time back. But when you really comes down to it, money is not what the important thing. It's what it can do for you. So for me, I would say it's more so about buying my time back. So I mean, obviously, to put a number on it, I always say like 100 million. That's where my eyes are set to. But realistically, it's just to serve my people. I know that's gonna get me there. Mm-hmm. If I serve enough people and I do it the right way, and I'm giving out all this information that God has blessed me with, I know like it's just a byproduct. It's only a matter of time.
But you don't think that's going to have anything to do with your hands on the clippers at any point?
Nah, there's no way.
You're going to step away from that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because for me, I'm never going to fully be done.
And to be honest, if I'm being fair, like there's always going to be a part of me that's just like, I want to cut hair right now.
Yeah.
Something about putting a little line in, you know what I'm saying? You got a fresh fade. Let me just.
Hey, you don't get to do high temps. I might have to come to Davenport, get a high temp, put you back in the old, get you off your game a little bit. But that'll be dope, man. I look forward. I really appreciate you coming to do the show.
For sure.
At Brando Blends on Instagram. Yes, is there anywhere else that they can find you? Anything else you want to let them know so that they can support?
Yeah, just TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Brando Blends everywhere.
What's been your most successful platform for your content?
TikTok for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm at like 470,000 followers on there, like 240 million views, something like that.
But do you think that TikTok translates to more clients than Instagram for you, other than the content?
Really, it's just everything's about supply and demand. It's just demand. So it's like because TikTok just pushes you out there to so many more people, it sells more. It's
Gotcha.
just and then people
I need to follow that.
Yeah,
I don't do TikTok at all.
No?
I have it. We've posted on there before, but I do everything on Instagram.
Gotcha.
And I need to learn from the
best.
What
about Facebook?
It's whatever goes on Facebook. Listen, my social media game needs help. Okay, I'm gonna be the first one to tell you. But again, doing everything at the same time is like, man, I focus all of my content, whatever I make, I keep it so I can cross post.
Okay.
But I get so backed up with everything that Instagram just gets all the love.
Yeah.
And it's what has translated the most for us here, at least. And I know that can be better. Yeah. And I know we should be also leveraging TikTok, but that's not what we do. Yeah. So to answer your question, everything I post on Instagram also goes to Facebook. Okay. So, I'm going to start picking up all these gems that you laid down today.
I mean, it's just a matter of what's working, what's not. What do I have to change in this area? Okay, cool. This isn't working. All right, let me try this.
Without falling off on the things that are.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
That's important.
Exactly.
So priorities, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's everything.
Awesome. Well, is there anything I didn't hit before we wrap it up here today? Anything maybe you wanted to talk about or have any questions? Anything? Not just laying the floor open, a little Q&A here. Yeah. And I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
For sure, bro. It's been amazing. This is definitely a great first step in terms of like my podcasting journey, my public speaking journey.
I'm honored that it is your first step.
Yeah, so for sure. I appreciate the opportunity, man. Don't be surprised if you guys see me. Like I'm gonna be out there. You know, like this is the first step. This is the outcoming of who I'm gonna be. Like I said, I have my eyes set on 100 million.
Yeah, you're gonna be out there.
I've got to provide some type of value. So if you're watching this and you know you want to follow someone who's driven, who's impact driven, to be specific, who has purpose, who's gonna hold himself accountable to be the absolute best man possible in every aspect, I would definitely recommend giving me a follow. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to stay, and I'm gonna do great things.
That's right. You already are, bro. We're both gonna do great things, and you already are. So that's fantastic. Sure. You're gonna have to start going to hair shows because you're gonna have no choice on this path. Yeah. So I think coming to Jack's Elite with us will be a fun experience. I think you got to think about that one.
Let's do it
for next month. But thank you so much for being here, bro.
Appreciate you, my brother. It's been a blessing, man.
Absolutely. Hey, this is just the first of many. I'm sure we'll be back. We might be back in 6 months, a year to get the updates.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
I would love that.
That's a wrap.
Let's go.